Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, joined by Russell Boyce and Brian Degnan. It's half-time. Celtic trail 2-1 to AZ Alkmaar. Russell, I'm going to come to you because during the week you actually predicted 3-1 AZ. I'll tell you what, it's looking that way, the way that this game has gone in that first half.
Well, I think there was a bit of me that was saying, whilst I thought that could be the score, I would take that as well because it means we'd go through. I'm not sure I can take another 45 minutes of this, man. Honestly, it's bonkers out there. I mean, I jot down the bullet point of my thoughts during the game. I don't note what's going on. I'll just note down my thoughts, my opinion on maybe if something's just happened. And literally my second thing is bonkers. That's my second bullet point. I've just wrote bonkers. Because what I'm watching is, I'm watching there at the end. I think the commentary actually picked up on it, but I was thinking the exact same thing. Starfield's still trying to pass it along the deck, and he's on the swivel at the corner flag with two players closing him down. That ball's got to go out and get the team back into shape. It's just madness. And I don't know if I can take another 45 minutes of that.
Just actually after that incident that you've mentioned, Boyce, just before the halftime whistle, he found himself in the centre circle of the park. And he kind of panics. He's not comfortable in that scenario. And what he's done is he's just released the ball behind him. And by the way, Brian, he did not know if there was a Celtic player in that area. It just so happens that Turnbull moved into the space and picked it up. I'm feeling the same as Russell. I've got to say, in this scenario, so many times in that first half, we've seen Welsh getting the ball. We can see his number, which means he's facing his own goal. He's looking up at Hart. He's playing the ball 20, 30 yards back. This team that we're playing is already pinning us back into that final third. Now, quite a few times during the commentary, they were saying, basically, you've got to play to whatever your opposition is fashioning. And I don't think it's really suiting us. In many ways, Brian, it's putting us under a pressure, far more pressure than we're comfortable with.
I think what's happening is the midfield's getting bypassed a wee bit. I know obviously there was a few absolute bomb scares in the first half that I'm sure we'll talk about, but Calmack's been kind of absent for me. I don't think Turnbull and Rogic have done enough. And I feel like if the midfield doesn't connect that, there's a real gap in us. And it looks like Alkmaar are just overrunning. It's almost like they're playing handball. They're doing to us what we've been doing to teams. They're just doing it better than us tonight. And they're really pinning us back. That said, you can see when we do string a few passes, we can open them up. And we can get spaces in the wing. So I still think there's goals in us. But Callum Starfield, the big fella's a nervous Nelly is the nicest way I can put it. He does look a bag of nerves out there. He's a lack of composure for me.
You see, the big thing for me, we'll talk about the defence, because obviously we're 2-1 down. And the frustration with that is both goals completely avoidable. We've shot ourselves in both feet in that first half. And we've gone in 2-1 down after an early goal. We were talking, all the comments were coming in. If we can just get that early goal, you're 3-0 up. And I think the expression is you're home and hosed. Not quite. They then come out because we have shot ourselves. I mean, let's talk about the first incident. We're only up. We're only 1-0 up, Russell, for 3 minutes. The ball comes to Stephen Welsh and he's misjudged that because he's allowed the ball, I think, to hit him on the chest. But even then, he's not really under any kind of pressure or any danger. He's just got to put a bit of weight behind his pass back. You can tell the minute he's passed it, there's not enough weight. But Joe Hart doesn't move towards the ball. I blame both of them. I can't give the responsibility solely to Joe Hart in that instance. And then when he does go to get the ball, Russell, he doesn't put his toe right through the swing. He kind of draws back. It was a really, really poor goal to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you've seen in the last two European away ties is the template of how to get at Celtic. And I don't want to be promoting that on this, but I'm pretty sure managers don't really watch for Russell Boyce's comments on tactics. I'll give the game away. Play route one against this team and you are in with a chance because they don't seem to know how to deal with it as a defensive partnership. The goalkeeper, the communication, for the second time in Europe now, because I felt as much as Hart had little to no chance in the Jablonec one that went straight over the top and through, he was really static and only came like 2 yards off his line as well, rather than even rushing out to close the angle, albeit I still think the striker would have scored. It just seemed a weird reaction. There he seems to be very slow in reacting as well. with regards to the defence, and Brian saying that the other side of AZ are playing Ange ball right now. They're playing Ange ball with a Dutch 45 times cap defender at the back. We're doing it with a guy we actually post a celebration that he gets called up for the Sweden squad, which isn't the same level. And I just think if you're going to be playing Ange ball in Europe, you need to be doing it with a defence that has a lot of experience first and foremost and is used to that system. I just think right now we look like, I think Laura said in the WhatsApp group chat, we look like we could score 12 and concede 7. I actually think it looks the other way around right now. In fact, I think the ratio of the scoreline will tell you that. But it's just, as I say, right now I just feel that we look, stopping cross balls is an issue. Long balls over the top is an issue. The goalkeepers are the howler. The centre-backs are the howler. You take those two howlers out and we'd actually be winging it to be a clean sheet, right? Because I think we've been under the cosh for long periods of that first half, to be perfectly honest.
Well, on that point, it's quite clear that this term has crept in Ange ball, Boyce, but in order to play that, I think you've got to be comfortable on the ball. And when a player isn't that comfortable, then it stands out like a sore thumb. I think what Alkmaar have done is Alkmaar have targeted the full-back positions. Now, we said before the game, Carlson's one of their best players. He has given Tony Ralston a bit of a torrid time tonight. Now, Ralston has stuck to his guns, but it's quite clear, the amount of times that he has played the ball over, and let me get this right, Sugawara at the back post, 3 occasions, maybe 4. The crosses come over from the left to the right, and both their full-backs have failed either to cut out the cross or defend the cross. Taylor, of course, his game ended probably a wee bit later than it should have done because he tried to stay on the park when it was clear that he was unfit to do so. How worried are you, Brian, in relation to the first half in terms of our fullbacks, our inverted fullbacks, who are being pinned back to play right and left back in a traditional sense?
Yeah, it's obviously a concern. I think one of the things is, again, I mentioned it at the start, because of how we defend for the front, midfield, back, and we attack the same way. So I think our midfield is been accountable as well. I think we've not held the ball as much. We've not been connecting the balls through. And I think that's inviting even more pressure. As Boyce says, they can go route one because they're just completely taking their midfield out the game. And when we're attacking, the midfield are not holding it up enough. They're not connecting the play as well. And what happens then is, we all know the defence is the weakest part of the team. And even if we had better defenders, it would still be the weakest part because of how we play. But what's happening is we're putting ourselves in a position where, they can send a long ball up and we're really under it. I thought Montgomery's done well. If we're looking for a positive when he's come on, I think he's stuck to his, where you go. I think he's stuck to his task well. But the boy Sugawara, he was a danger man in the first leg as well. He looks excellent. He looks a real player.
That volley.
And yeah, absolutely. And we at the start, of the show, we said this is a good team. So let's not kid ourselves on as well. Which, as much as we're playing, no great, they're playing very well. It's just that it looks like a lack of composure is giving them the ability, and it's just piling pressure on us. Whereas normally we're forcing that for the midfield front. But if we're not defending for the front, you're just inviting attack.
One thing that came up in the comments is it's very busy tonight. I've got to say we're about 2,000 live viewers, so some of the comments are spiralling off the screen. But someone did mention that, it's been impressive. The tempo has been very, very high from AZ Alkmaar. But how long can they keep that up? I think what's working in their favour, of course, is that they had a free weekend, didn't they, to prepare for this game? Something that our authorities don't seem to give us the benefit of. But Russell, that is a fair question. Do you think that, up to maybe 60 minutes, we might be under the cosh, but we might come into our own? Another question I'm going to have to ask, how do we deal with that full-back situation? I mean, we've just seen Taylor coming off, something we spoke about on the bulletin today. All it takes is one injury, and then you really are digging in to the inexperience that's on the bench. I think Montgomery's had a really solid game. I like him a lot. I don't think he's had a bad game for Celtic yet, but he's been thrown in there tonight, Russell. The same thing might happen with Ralston. Back of the head, got a knock, and then you're struggling because then you're looking at Urigidi at right back or maybe Welsh at right back, Beaton at centre half, and it really just shows you how wafer thin we are really when it comes to squad depth. But it also shows you that Bolingoli is not fancied by Ange Postecoglou. And quite rightly so when you see Montgomery's performances, Russell.
Oh, yeah, Bolingoli's way out the picture. I don't even think. I think when the two of them went to warm up, it was Urhoghide and Montgomery who actually warmed up for when it looked like Taylor, first time round, looked like he was going to come off. I actually quite liked it when they did the close-up on Taylor. His attitude seemed to be all he was concerned about was what was happening on the pitch. You know, quite often players want to go to the treatment room and get mollycoddled and all that, do you know what I mean, and find out what the injury is. He was the old-school ice pack and seemed completely distracted by what was happening on the pitch, and I was like, I like to see that. I thought fair play to Taylor for that, and the fact he did want to carry on, probably knowing he shouldn't, but not out of self-indulgence. I think just out of actually trying to help the cause, which is fair dues. You know what I mean? As for the fullback area, we knew we were thin. That's the thing. We know we're thin there. Do I think AZ will tire after 60 minutes? There's a huge thing in sport called adrenaline and momentum, and it's something that when you're chasing something and you know it is now in touching distance, whether that be on 60 minutes, we're 3-1 down, or whether that be, and they're going for the jugular, they're going for the win, or whether it be they're chasing, parity and obviously to get to extra time remains to be seen. But I certainly don't, I wouldn't be resting on our laurels that AZ are going to slow up 60 minutes. I mean, I don't think we can afford to play like that. I wonder if we need to steady the ship a wee bit. It felt at times to me, and maybe that's just because I'm panicking as a fan, but it felt to me at times like the game needed slowed down. And I actually felt at times Celtic players needed to get more of a touch of the ball. Maybe what Brian's saying about the midfield bypassing the midfield. I think sometimes maybe confidence can grow just by touching the ball a few times, A couple of straightforward 1-2s, just getting a feel for the game, getting yourself involved. And I wonder if they're, say it was a McCarthy, for example. I know he's been left at home. Whether he's suited for these ties. I'm not sure what Angie's record is away from home so far for Celtic. And we've talked about all the good points. But, obviously we got beat off Hearts. Well, I can't even remember the Michelin score now. That seems like last season now. Because that
2-1 after extra time, yep.
After extra time, of course. And you just look at it, we conceded 2 silly goals against Jablonec, and you just think, maybe away from home against better opposition in Europe, particularly, maybe we could play a slightly different, maybe the same formation, slightly different personnel, perhaps, I don't know, just to sort of stem the flow a wee bit here. I just think right now it's all a bit gung-ho and a wee bit, just needs to sort of calm down. I like saying
calm down, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, on that note, boys, about 30 minutes in, and for the first time under Ange Postecoglou, actually, against West Ham, I wanted the game to end after about 20 minutes. But 30 minutes in, I wanted that half-time whistle to blow, and I've not felt like that, generally since Ange came in, because what I wanted was us to regroup, regain our composure, and I wanted Ange basically to get a grip of that team and to try and put it right. And of course, half-time has come. The question is, how do we weather that storm? Because I think that they're going to come back out the traps. I don't think they're going to change. They've got to get another goal, Brian. They're not going to change their game plan. How do we weather that storm? Do you do as Boyce says? Do you change a bit of personnel? The obvious one looking on the bench for me is Sorrow. But again, he's shown himself up a wee bit for being reckless in the challenge, almost looking as though he wants to get that first booking in the book. 2 or 3, challenges in late. Do we make a change this early on? Are we being premature? Can the Ange effect give us 10, 15 minutes in that second half to regroup?
I don't think you change at half time. I think you go out and see how they handle it. I think we've shown, even though we've been really relatively poor tonight, you saw that in flashes what we're capable of. I mean, just after Kyogo scored, Abada, if he takes a better touch, that's 2-0. And we've shown, even, I think, in about 30-odd minute mark, 35-minute mark, we actually got a bit of composure. We made some of these passes, we used our midfield, and we got some crosses in. So I think that we've definitely got the ability to get it, Alkmaar. It's just whether or not we can sustain that pressure. I've got to agree with Boyce. There's no way they're going to tire after 60 minutes. Not for all the team China, because she says they're up for it, they're strong, they're athletic, and they've had the rest. There's no way they're tiring. If anything, we tire, because that's the one criticism so far of Ange. We know as much of Ange, but the players, the last 10 minutes in every game so far, we have dropped off a lot. And I think that's due to conditioning stuff and the intensity of play. So out of the two, it would be us that tire first. But I think it goes 10 minutes, see how we got on. I think Rogic has to get a bit more involved. Carmack has to try and be a bit more dominant in midfield.
Yeah.
I know the referee's been letting things go, but it's a wee bit ridiculous at points. He needs to maybe just watch for the actual fouls a wee bit more. But yeah, I think Soro's the obvious one, because what he'll do is at least spoil their attack a bit. What he's got is the energy and pace to annoy people. So even if he can break up their midfield and disrupt it enough, it maybe allows their more creative players to go forward.
Well, just to confirm, AZ certainly haven't changed their game plan. They won the ball from a Celtic kickoff within 3 seconds. So it's going at the same pace. The second half has kicked off. We'll be back here at full time. Thanks everybody for getting involved. And Brian Degnan, Russell Boyce and myself will be back at full time. Thanks for tuning into a Celtic State of Mind.